nadamay lang naman ako dito sa proyekto na to. No one is prepared na makulong. Nadamay lang ako dito. Although they call me the flood control queen, pero nadamay lang ako dito sa case na to.
Let me ask you something. If someone steals money that meant to protect lives, to prevent floods, that meant to keep families safe, and then later returns a fraction of it, are we supposed to call that justice? Or are we supposed to call it getting caught? Because that is exactly what is happening in the Philippines right now. And yes, the headlines are screaming about 100 million pesos being returned, but I think let's be honest. Where's the rest? Where's the rest? Where are the billions that were stolen from flood victims? Because that is the real question. What's up, everyone? This is D at Dina Know Everything. This topic is slowly fading from headlines, buried under new controversies and new distractions. But let me make one thing very clear. This issue will never be forgotten. Never. Flood control isn't just infrastructure, it's life and death. It's the safety of millions of Filipinos. And yet, the very people entrusted to protect the public used that money for their own comfort. Welcome back to the channel.
Former Department of Public Works and Highways Bulacan District Engineer Henry Alcantara has turned over to the Department of Justice 110 million pesos. This amount is only a portion of the 300 million pesos he received as kickbacks from flood control projects. Justice Secretary Frederick Vidas said the Land Bank of the Philippines will count and validate the restituted cash money. Once validated, Vidas said it will be turned over to the Bureau of Treasury. In September, Alcantara linked several lawmakers and government officials to corruption in flood control projects in the country. In its latest report to the Independent Commission for Infrastructure in November, the Commission on Audit flagged 4 more flood control projects in Bulacan worth more than 344 million pesos for alleged systemic irregularities, including ghost structures and mismatched project sites.
So here's what's happening. Former DPWH District Engineer Henry Alcantara returned 110 million pesos to the DOJ as restitution. This is just the initial amount. Alcantara is expected to return a total of 300 million or possibly more. Then there's former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, who promised to return 7 million from a frozen bank account. And the DOJ is still waiting to hear from contractor couple Curly and Sara Discaya. And yes, Sara Discaya voluntarily surrendered to the NBI after President Marcos Jr. announced her impending arrest for graft and malversation over a 96.5 million ghost flood control project. She claims she did it for her own safety and under her lawyer's advice. President Marcos Jr. vowed to recover all ill-gotten wealth, and the DOJ stressed that returning stolen money does not grant immunity. But let me ask you, where's the follow-through? Where? How much of this money is actually being accounted for right now? How much is still being negotiated behind closed doors? Because the public deserves answers and not promises. Let's be very clear. The flood control budget was meant to address one of the country's most serious and recurring problems. Instead, people suffered, people died, families lost their homes, communities were destroyed. Not because floods are unavoidable, not because disasters are random, but because the government failed to do its job. To be honest. And instead of protecting people, the money was diverted for a personal comfort. So let me ask this. Are you going to return the lives that were lost? Are you going to restore the homes that were destroyed? Are you going to give back the sense of security, the livelihoods, the peace of mind that was stolen? A dismissed public works official surrendered millions in kickbacks. The president vowed to recover all ill-gotten wealth. But ask yourself this: is this enough? Is this enough? Are we really going to accept the powerful people can manipulate the system, shift public attention, and escape full accountability by returning a fraction of what they stole? Because that's exactly what this looks like. Damage control, not justice. As long as the same people remain in power, corruption will continue. And that is not okay. 110 million pesos is not a victory. It is a revelation. It shows just how bad the corruption really is. Calling this a good faith action is laughable and ridiculous. Just to be honest, regret does not erase the damage, and returning money after getting caught does not erase death and destruction. Let's stop pretending. When someone makes a pact with the devil, they already know from the very beginning what the consequences are. The only question is when those consequences arrive. When? No one was just nadamay. You willingly entered it. You chose to participate. You allowed yourself to get entangled. Politicians will always protect themselves because they hold power. Attention Tacloban City, early registration for the school year 2026 to 2027 is now open at your local ALS center. From January 25 to February 15, 2026, make sure to reserve your spot and start your journey toward education and success. ALS program welcomes out-of-school youth and adults, including those who haven't finished elementary or high school, and even ALS passers who want to continue their education. Madali lang ang requirements: PSA birth certificate, report card, ALS AF5 at 2 ID pictures. Handang-handa ka na. For more information, please contact 099-2449-4252. Magpa-register na and take your first step toward a brighter future with ALS. You chose to become one of their pawns, you don't get to act surprised when the consequences arrive. No, that's not how it works. That is the deal. And look at the reality. Rolls-Royce, Bentley, luxury vehicles, huge amounts of money in the bank, countless other assets. And somehow, people want us to believe na damay lang. I'm not aware. Kabobohan at kasinungalingan po iyan. It's literally not accidental. It's intentional. Those were benefits, and benefits always have consequences.
Controversial contractor Sara Discaya has surrendered to the Philippine Investigation Bureau. That move comes after comments from President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. that the warrant of arrest for her is expected to be issued within the week. The Office of the Ombudsman has recommended the filing of criminal charges against Discaya and others for malversation through falsification and violations of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. This is in connection with her alleged role in ghost flood control projects. Her husband, Pacifico Curly Discaya, remains in Senate detention after being cited for contempt for allegedly lying and providing inconsistent statements during a hearing on the flood control scandal. The Discayas had previously testified before the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, naming several lawmakers and DPWH officials allegedly involved in kickback schemes. Sara Discaya is associated with firms like Alpha and Omega Construction and St. Gerard Construction Company, which secured billions of pesos worth of government contracts, many for flood control projects.
Sara Discaya surrendered voluntarily to the NBI hours after President Marcos Jr. announced her impending arrest. And let's be clear, this was calculated. It's not being courageous. Voluntary surrender after an arrest announcement is strategy, not morality. And yes, people are capable of doing what's right and wrong. This guy made a choice. The law will decide whether it was right or wrong. But do not confuse the calculation for courage. 110 million returned. But where are the billions? Where? We need the billions. The Filipino public sees this clearly. If 110 million can be returned today, it means that money was never missing. It was hidden. Let that sink in. Hidden. Not lost, not misplaced. It's hidden. Ordinary Filipinos face immediate consequences for even the smallest mistakes. You forget to pay a bill, get penalties. You jaywalk, you get fined. You steal a few thousand pesos, you go to jail. Every action is accountability. Every action has a consequence. And yet, when powerful people are involved in corruption, suddenly it becomes complex. Suddenly, it's about negotiations, legal loopholes, settlements. Suddenly, people are told it's complicated, let the process take its course. Bullshit. But the public sees through it. They know what's happening. They know that the system protects the powerful and punishes the powerless. That double standard is blatant. It's very insulting. It's enraging. And the people are no longer willing to be fooled by half-hearted recitations or PR maneuvers. They are watching. They are thinking. And they are demanding real accountability, not staged gestures. And here's the rule nobody escapes: play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Every wrong action carries a consequence. Always. No exceptions. You can hide money. You can make promises. You can manipulate public perception. But the truth always comes out. And the higher you climb by cheating, lying, or stealing, the harder the fall when the reckoning comes. Corruption is not a game without rules. Power is not immunity. You cannot cheat people's lives, their homes, their safety, and then think that a check or a surrender erases your responsibility. No, no, I don't accept that. Flooding is not destiny. It's not tradition. Flooding is a policy failure. A government that steals from flood victims has already drowned its moral authority. To be honest, return money doesn't erase damage. Speeches don't rebuild trust. Empty promises don't bring back lost lives, lost homes, or shattered communities. I'm telling you, the Filipino people are watching. They're all thinking, and they are no longer fooled. They understand that real accountability requires more than just returning stolen money. It requires consequences, removal from power, legal prosecution, and systematic change. Because for me, one thing is absolutely clear: you cannot steal from the people, manipulate the system, and expect applause for giving back a fraction of what was yours to begin with. This is not generosity. This is damage control. And the people see it for exactly what it is. All right, so that's it for today. I want to tell you all, don't forget what they did to Filipinos. Don't forget the suffering. Don't forget the lives that were lost. Don't let yourself be distracted. And I'm still one of the people who believes that one day we will deserve what we need. Real justice, real accountability, and real change. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. This is Dee, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.